All praises to the Most High Yahweh, Basham, Yahushai, double honors to the elders and apostles of Jemes rule well, Shalom to the hopeful elect. Now, this might upset some people because it's a bit of a sick story still. But this just shows you that Edom, is in charge of the earth. If this story doesn't illustrate how much Edom really is in charge of the earth and how much our people look towards him like he's, our people have like a white savior complex. But yeah, I'm gonna start it. You know, this might upset you. Just full disclosure.
In Cap Haitian in the 1990s. When Doug Perlitz arrived in Cap Haitian in the 1990s to work with homeless street kids, he seemed like a savior. Perlitz built a school where boys could be safe. It became known as the Village, a place where boys who had nothing could come to learn, eat, sleep, and play. Francillian John Charles came to the Village when he was 12 years old.
When I met Mr. Douglas, he appeared to us like Jesus Christ himself come to rescue us.
Brian Russell was an early donor to Perlitz's project.
We opened the gates up to the village, and it was like this paradise. There was no garbage in the village. There were buildings that were not in complete disrepair, and it seemed like an oasis in the middle of, a desert.
Perlitz raised a lot of money and was beloved by the local community. What no one knew, however, was that behind the smiles and the good deeds, Doug Perlitz was actually a monster. According to more than a dozen boys, Perlitz routinely molested them for years.
Douglas had an outward appearance that would make it hard to believe he was doing these things, because whenever people would see him, he would always be praying and rescuing children.
Woolnick Messidor was just 11 when he says Perlitz began to abuse him. Fredlin Legrand was 14.
He gave me a pill that made me fall asleep, and when I woke up, I found my pants covered in sperm. I started to cry because I never thought something like this would ever happen to me. One night he would take Francillian. One night he would take me. One night it could be anyone else. He always had a watch, and he used the watch light to look for little kids to have sex with them.
The boys say they didn't know what to do. They didn't want to return to the streets, so they stayed silent for years. But in 2007, unable to stand it any longer, a few boys approached teachers and adults in town and told them what Perlitz did. But either no one believed them, or they were afraid to cross Doug Perlitz.
The school became a business boon for the town, and to live well in this town, you needed to go through Mr. Douglas.
Some boys, in desperation, began to scrawl messages on the school walls, hoping to get someone's attention. All along these walls, there's graffiti markings that have been painted over. The boys say that the only way that they were ever able to get anybody to understand what was going on behind these walls was to write the graffiti about what Doug Perlitz was doing to them. And actually here you see two words that are left here, a plea for help, welcome National Police of Haiti. The police, however, never came. Finally, a local radio reporter named Cyrus Seibert saw the graffiti and told the kids he'd help.
I told the boys, I will go to the end with you. Are you ready? And they said, no problem.
Seibert interviewed one of the kids on his radio show. But at first, Haitian authorities and American donors refused to believe them.
There was no way that this man could have committed these things that people were accusing him of. It seemed utterly out of the realm of possibility. There was too much goodness. The heart was too big.
It wasn't until the spring of 2008 that an American volunteer discovered something was terribly wrong. Brian Russell got a call from the volunteer at the school.
She related a story to me where one of our older boys had raped one of our younger boys. Our volunteer went to the Haitian headmaster of the school and said, we have to do something more about this. We can't have children raping each other. And his response was, well, that's really hard because Douglas has been doing this for the last 10 years.
Confronted by his donors, Perlitz fled Haiti and returned to the U.S., where a year later, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents arrested him and charged him with allegedly abusing 18 underage boys. On his computer, they found links to pornographic websites, which according to court documents said Perlitz, quote, showed one or more minors homosexual pornography or displayed homosexual pornography on his laptop computer to entice and persuade the minors to comply with the sex acts. Perlitz initially refused to cooperate with police, but this past August, he struck a plea deal, admitting only that he had sex with 8 minors and confessing that he traveled from the U.S. to Haiti to have sex. which is just one of the 24 counts he originally faced. In a handwritten confession, he wrote, "One of the dominant purposes of that trip was to engage in illicit sexual conduct with one of the minor boys." Perlitz faces up to 20 years in prison and will be sentenced on Tuesday. Those who once supported Perlitz are still trying to understand how all of this could have happened.
You feel like you want to go hug those kids, and you want to save those kids, and you can't.
Many of the kids are now young adults and view Perlitz's limited confession as some measure of justice.
For us, this is a victory. A victory because in the beginning, Doug denied it. He said I was a liar, that the boys were liars. I felt proud because everybody used to say that I was lying, but I knew I was telling the truth.
For these young men, the truth has come with a heavy price. The school is closed, the staff laid off, and they're back on the streets. The same streets where Doug Perlitz found them so many years ago. In Cap.
Yeah, and the reason why I did that, I didn't want to go to YouTube and get the clip, for copyright strikes, so on and so forth. Hopefully it doesn't because of the format that it's in. But it just shows you that this devil is the one in charge, because he's been running through the earth doing whatever he wants. And I'll just read this comment real quick because I think it's poignant. This classic white savior behavior. They come under the guise of a savior so that they can commit their vile acts, and the people they pretend to be saving often have no choice or have internalized white supremacy, so accept the behavior. I'm so saddened by this. And if you go back and you listen, the guy said, he was like Jesus. So in their head, Yahushua looks like this, and they don't even call Yahushua, they call him Jesus. I'm gonna get this. Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So they look at my guy like he's Jesus, because these people have covered the faces of the judges. So you think that the judges look like them, and they don't do no righteousness. If these people aren't in charge of the earth, who is? Because this man literally had the power to go to Haiti and create a damn near sanctuary for people. These times the whole place is, under judgment of the Most High. And the elders say, Haiti is Levi. Not to say that they ain't. I'm just saying, the elders say, the Haitians are Levi. So this is judgment of the Lord. And it's just messed up, because this man can go and do whatever he wants, and there's no real judgment. He didn't even admit to the full scope of what he was guilty of. It's like me saying, it's like me murdering 10 people and then they charge me for manslaughter. So this man he keeps skating on judgment, but ultimately Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua is going to come and give him that full whack. Ecclesiasticus 12:17. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first, and though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. So he's pretending to help these people. I'll take you off the roads, and then he takes them off the roads, put them into the house, and then he's raping them. See, this is how Jake is jacked up, because you have a choice of being in the street and being hungry and starving, or having a roof over your head, having food, but then you're getting molested and abused. And Esau will come and he'll stick you in jail for 10 years. These times it says in the scriptures, if a man take a woman and a man scream, and a woman scream, he's supposed to be put to death. When you rape somebody, you're supposed to be put to death. But you have to look at that situation and look how messed up that is, because no one was screaming, because they were so fearful of the man, and they knew that nothing was going to happen, because this happened for 10 years and nothing happened. To the point where the guy was going through with a stopwatch, and he's turning on the light on his watch to look for boys to abuse. Like he had his own harem of friggin', of Levites. Like that's if that's not a judgment from the Most High, I don't know what is, man. And this guy's basically skated off scot-free. And he looked like he was a sodomite, talking about he want to hug these boys. And who knows what he's doing, man. I'm not going to say he's this or he's that, but like he looked like he's a sodomite himself, because he looked like he was in a real feminine spirit. But I'm going to leave that. Deuteronomy 28:48. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So, no, like, I don't even want to be vile with it, but like, you're going to this man naked, man. The only way this man want to help you is if you strip down and you appease his sexual lust, bro. You know what I mean? He don't want to help you unless you have something for him. And this man's gone all over the earth, destroying absolutely everything, man. This man he's a curse on the earth, man. And yeah, I just wanted to bring it out. I know everybody knows these scriptures, but I just wanted to just shed some light on this. And this is just Esau, man. The earth has been given into the hands of the wicked, and this is the wicked right here, because he goes around abusing people, and everybody looks at him like he's the savior because he's covering the faces of the judges. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, double honors to the elders of the apostles of James, well, shalom to the elect.